Hangout anyway. My phone says that we're live, but YouTube. Here we go.
Take it away, Chad.
Oh, hey, everybody. Welcome to BeerdedHops podcast. Are we running the intro first or am I introducing first?
Introducing first.
Okay. Welcome, everybody, to our live stream episode of BeerdedHops podcast. Tonight, we'll be talking with Ryan from Beer by the Numbers, also YouTube channel, and we'll get into that and introduce Ryan right after the intro.
Yeah, the intro's not running. Sorry. We're good.
Okay, well.
We'll edit that later.
Okay. We had to put big letters on the screen, say intro here.
It's okay. Good. You're the only one everybody's seeing, so.
Yeah, I see that.
Yeah.
All right, well, welcome to the show, Ryan. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing very well tonight. I'm ready to have a beer. It's been a long week, so let's get into it. I'm excited.
Midweek, and it's been a long week.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
All right. Well, I am at my my home studio in northwest suburbs of Milwaukee. Adam and Jakey are on the north side of Chicago, and Ryan is in the Minneapolis area tonight. So,
yeah, that's right. We're trying to get rid of our snow finally.
You guys still have snow on the ground?
Oh, you betcha. You betcha. We got about 3 feet in February, so we're still melting it off.
There's that Minnesota. You betcha.
Yeah, you betcha. That's a Wisconsin, Minnesota thing.
Oh, yep.
Getting ready for the 6-week summer, or how many do you get up there?
What's that?
How long is summer for you?
What do you consider summer? You know, are we talking 60 degrees? Maybe 4 or 5 months. We'll see.
Like 65, 70 plus. Like, do you get four and a half months?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Well, all our snow is melted, which kind of surprising, but we had quite a bit, but it's gone.
We're getting a lot of, it's like raining out there now.
Yeah, but
I'm surprised you came across the street.
You know, you live in Illinois when you're happy with 45 and rain. You're like, oh yeah, this is great.
Please more. I'll take it. All right.
Well, before we get into grilling Ryan on the show tonight, let's go around the room here and see what everybody is drinking. I'll start. I'm having a Bell's 1.5 aged Third Coast Old Ale barley wine. This was it's a 10 point.
Year and a half aged. Look at you, Mr.
Yeah, it was bottled on 9/11/2017, so it is a 1.5 years old. It's a 10.2% ABV beer. I like that their bottle says it's shelf life unlimited. So I mean, I literally could have just let this sit for years, but you know, it was calling my name today, so that's what I'm having tonight. And who wants to go next?
Ryan, what you doing, Ryan? What you got?
All right, tonight I have the Cake Drinker by Fair State Brewing Co-op. It's brewed exclusively for a liquor store in Edina, Minnesota, which is one of the rich suburbs up here. So they have a classic pun on the old cake eater. They've got Cake Drinker here. So it's a milkshake IPA. What do we got in here? Citra hops, coconut, vanilla, that sort of thing. And actually, milkshake IPAs are something I've been trying to learn to love. So I've been trying to drink more of them so I can get into them.
I had a good one before. What's your ABV there, Ryan?
Let's see if it should say on here somewhere. It's just a giant slice of cake across most of the can. So
I know you do.
Oh, here it is, really tiny, 6.8, and I just popped it and it just hit me with coconut and vanilla. So we're gonna pour this out.
That looks good.
Adam, what do you got tonight there, buddy?
I am drinking, what's this thing called? Insufficient Clearance from Sketchbook Brewing in Chicago. Hazy IPA. That's what I got. And I paid $3.25.
It still has a sticker on it, eh?
I got the sticker on it.
Oh, you got the green sticker.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I got. Jake, you have a good one tonight.
I
almost had one. I was thinking about doing that, but
I was going to ask you if you felt like, because I didn't know if we were at a show. I got a 2019. Since Chad read everything on the front, maybe I'll read all of this. Highly acclaimed KBS flavored stout is good for everything. A flavored stout. What's it say? I can't even read that word. Don't.
All right, good job, Jake.
All right, I just killed it.
Excellent review.
That's fine.
Yeah, professional show here. Let's go.
Hey, listen, I can talk. I can't read.
We don't require him to know anything.
That's why
Well, there's a reason I'm not a beer reviewer. So
I get to watch videos. I don't have to read anything.
All right, so we're all sufficiently getting ready to be boozed up here.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
Yes, definitely.
Cool.
Drink it up.
Mm.
All right.
All right. Well,
tell us a little bit about yourself.
yeah, Ryan, who are you?
yeah, absolutely. So I'm just a self-proclaimed beer nerd. I'm a numbers guy. I work in Excel all day, and I love drinking beer on the nights and weekends. So, really, I'm just a guy who was absolutely fascinated by the world of craft beer after I got bit by the bug 5-6 years ago. And, I came here on YouTube. I was trying to look to see, what the beer community was doing here on YouTube. Some great podcasts out there, obviously. Great beer reviewers, but, I didn't have the palate for it. I'm a little bit too much of a local vor to have a beer channel that really grows and thrives here on YouTube. I'm not out chasing the big national brands. I'm really just drinking a lot of local stuff from Minnesota, Wisconsin. So I didn't really feel like reviews were for me. So instead, I just started reading and reading about beer, everything I could get. It's a great thing, a 3,000-year history, great culture and community built around beer. And I just wanted to make kind of a video record of my exploration of beer in general. And any weird numbers or stats I could find too were always welcome for my brain. So yeah, I guess that's about it.
I knew you were a numbers guy just from watching your videos. It's pretty easy to tell you're a numbers guy. And obviously the title. And you're obviously a research guy, right? I mean, these videos, you're not just like, ooh, I have an idea, let's go record that. You've got to take time.
Oh, absolutely. I spent quite a bit of time researching these videos, mostly online. Actually bought a few books, though. I'm developing quite a nice little beer library. But I have to say one of probably my craziest research effort was a video I did kind of over the winter break between Christmas and New Year's. I just sat around and I went through all 10-15% of the beer channels I was subscribed to, and I just went back through a year's worth of reviews that they did and tried to look up a price for
I
2,500 beers.
Yeah.
And I sat there literally just with a spreadsheet on one screen and Google on the other, Total Wine website, just whatever big national store I could get, just grinding hours of just Googling various beer names and logging them into this spreadsheet. It was
Wow.
way too much effort for that video. I'll tell you that right now. So maybe I'm a bit of a masochist and enjoy the research too much.
I remember the video specifically because obviously we do beer on here, and I was trying to see what everybody's spending on it because I haven't even began to calculate what I've spent on it. So, but I was thinking the whole time, how much time does this take him? It's this is insane.
I think that I tried to track it because I knew it was going to be crazy. Because I actually wanted to know how much time I was going to.
Oh no!
Oh,
No.
Chad, you're there?
yeah, I'm here.
Okay, I was gonna say we just
Ryan, we can see your frozen face, and if you can hear us, I guess give us a second.
see if you can get logged back in.
Yeah.
So if you guys haven't checked out Beer by the Numbers, his YouTube, it's really interesting. He's got just a ton of information. One of the ones I really like was the Dark Side of Craft Beer. That was a good one.
That's one I have actually in the queue here to talk about tonight, as I watched that one today.
Oh, did you? Yeah, I watched that one a while ago. Do we have him back?
Oh, sorry guys.
We thought it started snowing. We weren't sure.
You know, I haven't looked out the window here. Maybe it has.
So we were just saying, I was saying one of my favorite ones more recently that you've done was the Dark Side of Craft Beer.
Oh yeah.
I watched that one today.
I love that one because it's one that I think is something that's needed to be said. Especially with the whole, Bud Light, Miller Lite thing when that hit in the Super Bowl, it kind of heightened it.
Yeah, it was weird because I kind of noticed it around that time. Was just looking at all this beer social media, that sort of thing. Just saw nothing but a lot of kind of lowbrow insults being exchanged back and forth between the two crowds, and it really just it doesn't get us anywhere. You watch the news every day. I don't try to be political at all on my channel, but you do see how divided everybody is, and it just feels like, why does beer have to be another thing that divides us? Like I don't see why that has to be the case.
So I did get a chance when you were sort of documenting all of these prices.
Oh yeah.
What was your idea behind that? What was the goal? I didn't watch when you set out to do that. What were you trying to assess?
So the idea for the episode was I was trying to kind of wrap my head around, like, all right, I work in Excel in an office all day, make pretty decent money. And looking around YouTube, it's pretty clear that a lot of the craft beer community is supported by kind of upper middle class people who are into the really quality products, that sort of thing. And so what I kind of set out to figure out was like, all right, say you want to be a hardcore beer nerd like me, say you want to be a heavy craft beer drinker. What kind of financial investment is that? Are there any insights that we can kind of gather from kind of calculating up and acknowledging it? Does it tell us anything about the accessibility of the community or things like that? And that I got into it a little bit at the end of the video, but it's definitely some that kind of goal and point is something I'm still mulling around in my head. I want to treat it very respectfully. So I definitely want to continue kind of down that path and take a look at accessibility in craft beer in the future. But I was trying to just kind of get a baseline of like, all right, how much does my hobby cost? Like I said, I'm not a very good beer reviewer. I don't have a great palate. I don't chase big national brands, but most of the beer channels out there are review or homebrew content. So I wanted to figure out, all right, what does it cost to be somebody like me? That was my goal.
Yeah, so he had picked some different beer tubers, as I call them, and went through the beers that they reviewed, and then got the cost of those beers just to see what would it cost you to have a beer channel and drink those beers.
Well, I would think that some of those channels, as they grow in popularity, they'll start getting beers sent to them by people that want to be reviewed.
Sometimes,
but for the just the general discussion of, well, forget if I have a channel, what if I'm just a consumer in this space? I will say personally, at somewhere at the start of 2019 into 2018, 2019, the wife and I one night had a conversation about this.
Conversation,
and we tried to say, well, how much did you spend in just 2018? And I was like, well, what are we counting? Are we counting beers I brought home? Does this include beers I purchased at location on site? So anyways, I let the wife come to a number, and then I said, yeah, let's go with that.
Is she watching right now?
I hope not. Because I started doing the math, and I was like, holy shit, I spent a lot of money on this.
Yeah, I'm lucky in the fact that my wife loves craft beer as much as I do. So when we go to the beer store, I can't take all the blame for buying it. It's her picking that stuff out too. So it's pretty easy for me to go, we're buying this. Oh, okay, cool. So yeah.
Now, do you have multiple stories that you're working on like at the same time? And like when one's ready, it's ready, and when others are, you're just kind of continuing to collect until you feel like it's something that's ready to be sort of thrown together and pushed out?
Yeah, some of them are like that. Some of them require a little more kind of time and thought. Here, I'll give you guys an inside scoop. So next up is history of malt liquor, which is very fascinating. That kind of sector of the beer industry. And yes, I am going to call it a beer. I'm sorry. It's
You won't
it is,
but it's fine.
yeah. I know, but some people get really touchy when you try to malt or lump in beer and malt liquor together. They for some reason think they should be separate for whatever reason.
Malt liquor review on this one night. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, and then but as I'm editing that video, I'm writing another one on whether or not breweries contribute to the trend of gentrification in the U.S., which I think is a really fascinating topic.
That's going to be an interesting one.
Yeah, I'm not done with all the research yet, so I don't quite have my kind of opinion or thesis fully formed, but it's been, that one has been really cool, the research. And then you can just, and I'm sure you guys do this too, but you can just look at where breweries are and kind of just sit around for 4 or 5 years, watch the neighborhoods transform. And it's not like it's all a brewery's fault. Nobody just moves into an area because a brewery's there, but they're kind of like the canaries in the coal mine. You know what I mean? Like they're not the cause of the danger, but if a brewery's moving into your neighborhood, you can expect that a lot of the other forces, economic forces out there that cause gentrification, are probably on their way.
Huh.
Interesting.
I mean, I can think of when you articulate that, I can certainly picture some examples where that story makes sense, but I did not anticipate. I certainly didn't think about that. I mean, I'd be pretty excited if we had a brewery even closer to us.
Within walking distance, that would be so dangerous.
But I love what you've done here, because you're right. You're not a beer reviewer, but I think you've carved out a nice spot for yourself and doing something. In some sense, you're a beer historian, but then you're also kind of like a beer investigator or sleuth, maybe.
Yeah, that's what I've been trying to do more of that lately. A lot of my earlier videos were repackaging a lot of stats, things like that, as I kind of
I didn't know
my way up to a creative vision. But now, I'm definitely
enjoyed that video. I didn't know those things, or for many reasons, I enjoyed the history of using sex to sell beer. That was a more recent one. I mean, just looking at stuff you did in the last few months since Adam told me about you, it's been sort of a combination of either history or you're kind of investigating something. Yeah,
that's been really cool. It's whatever topic catches my interest for 2 or 3 weeks. I probably the main issue is I probably just spend way too much time thinking about beer. That's the main thing. I just need to drink more and think less. That's probably my issue.
Now I've bounced all over your channel. I haven't paid attention to how often you put something out. What's your frequency?
Oh my goodness. So for about 1.5 years, I was every week or at least bi-weekly, which was quite the schedule to keep. Everything was right around that 10-minute mark. And it was kind of a crazy pace, but I'm getting married in about a month here. I'm going to be moving. So, life's catching up with me a little bit. And the other thing is I've really tried to be a little bit more investigative, really tried to find data of my own to contribute to the beer space, and that sort of thing. And that's a longer process and requires, longer videos to kind of explain everything. The history of sex to sell beer is so long, and I could really only cover like the modern advertising era of like post 1810, things like that. So like, you could go back even earlier to how they did it in Europe, alewives, things like that. You can go way back, and that's what's really cool about beer for me, is just there's this whole human history that's connected to the beverage that I really just love exploring.
And how tied it is into our human history and the rise of civilization, and just when you beer history and then beer history together. Just it's completely fascinating to me. I've read several books on beer history, and it is a very interesting thing. So are you spending? You mentioned 2 to 3 weeks. Is that what you think about 2 to 3 weeks you spend on each one of these videos?
Yeah, lately that's kind of been my goal if I can handle it. Yeah.
If I can handle it. Does the fiance, future wife, is she into beer, or is she just like, what are you doing? Why are you?
Oh, absolutely. And she's got more adventurous taste than I do probably. Me, like I said, I'm trying to learn to love milkshake IPAs, but normally it's like IPAs, pale ales, and then old world styles. So, English stouts, not crazy barrel aged American stuff.
Barley wines.
Pale ales, saisons, love Belgian beer. And then probably one of my favorite styles, and I'm looking forward to this coming out soon, are when all the Kolsch's come back. Yeah. That is a good time of year.
Chad,
you're speaking my summertime language.
Chad loves his Kolsch's.
I love Kolsch's.
Out and it's just Chad's just all Kolsch.
Love them.
So I really enjoyed the last video you posted. I believe this was the last video, the 27 strangest beers ever brewed.
Oh yeah.
Oh my goodness. Was the one from, I believe, Evil Twin that had money and pizza? Is that Big Ass Money?
Big Ass Money stout, yeah.
Because do you know that there's pizza and money in that?
No, it was one they collaborated with some Norwegian brewery because they put like frozen pizzas and actual Norwegian banknotes. Yeah, and the thing is, you must not. Maybe it is the Big Ass Money stout, but you must not be able to use. They must have not been able to use U.S. dollars. It's probably illegal to do that. So
probably is.
I would imagine they had to find a brewery to collaborate.
So you're telling me the Big Ass Money stout actually used pizza and
I don't think you named which one it was, but Big Ass Money Stout has pizza on it, and it's called.
Yeah, it's got pizza on the can.
There's one in the fridge if you want to grab it.
Yeah, so they were trying to capture the spirit of their college eating. So they were frozen pizzas and always trying to find some money for beer. So they turned it into a beer.
Well, and you hit one of our favorite breweries in there. A gentleman we were lucky to interview from Three Sheeps, Grant. They used something with ink.
Squid ink? Yeah.
Squid ink. Yeah, I was like, I didn't even know about that.
I haven't watched this video yet. I'm going to have to go watch it.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, and I haven't watched this one either.
You talk about like the history of beer. They talk at one point, they're finding like, I think this was a video, Ryan, correct me if I'm wrong, but they found some beer that had like from a pirate ship, like 200 years old, and they drank that.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And they went ahead and they wanted to. It didn't taste good, but they were going to extract it and try to build a formula off of it.
Yeah.
But dear gosh, some of the beers on there, there's like I think there was one from Iceland that's got like a goat head and whale balls in it, and I mean,
yeah, Iceland's got some weird food, and they have a very experimental beer scene from what I've heard. And the cool thing about that is that Iceland usually does these kind of beer trades with other state brewing guilds where they'll send this container, like shipping container, just full of kegs and taps on the side, and they'll haul it across the ocean to like somewhere on the East Coast or something, and they'll have like a big beer release party where they just try all these Icelandic beers, and then the local brewers all fill up the beers from their state and ship it back to Iceland, and then they have another festival. So they've got a really cool beer scene over there, even though they try to put their weird local ass food in there. I don't know.
So I just quickly Googled Big Ass Money Stout. Is it actually brewed with pizza?
Yeah, in Norwegian money?
Yeah, and it says it is. They're really into pizza.
Yeah.
What's it called? Frozen ham pizza is what they have. It's added to the boil.
And pineapple
and then
pizza.
money is added after the fermentation, kind of like how you dry hop.
Really?
So I am fascinated though by
crazy.
this freighter of beer. I'm thinking, gentlemen, we have a new opportunity in front of us. Where would you
straight to Chicago, right?
No, I'm thinking we buy a boat and we become beer pirates. I want to commandeer that ship and
Captain Chad. Chad's already got a boat.
I got a nice big boat.
We got the big
boat,
little dinghy.
The fleet. But then there
was. Hold on. Could you imagine us going down?
We have
whatever
a tugboat,
right? With the big red his big boat, and then the little tugboat right behind.
Little mini tugboat.
Can't even keep up with Big Red.
I will pull the tugboat with the big boat, but I can't go very fast.
Yeah, exactly, right?
So the last beer, and I really do recommend anybody out there that's just, I mean, the last episode, it's funny, but there's some history in there too. The last one I'll mention, and there's a whole, I could talk about all 27 of those and your last one, Ryan, but
There we go.
there was one, I think it was was it panda or maybe it was elephant poop?
Oh yeah. So they, so in
Oh,
Indonesia, they,
right now.
in Indonesia they have these little jungle cats. I think they're called civets, and they say some of the best coffee is the ones where the civets eat it and then they poop it out. But I had never heard that people do the same thing with Thai elephants, and apparently they decided to just put that into beer too. One of the interesting things I mentioned at the end of that 27 weird beer video is I take about a minute to just kind of talk about the fact that the definition of what is a weird beer has changed so much in 5 years. Like, if you look at like internet lists from like 2012, they're like, oh, this key lime pie flavored beer is really strange, or this one's based on sticky toffee pudding. And it's like, no, that that is like old news now. You know what I mean?
Try a beer with 300 scorpions grinded up in it.
Yep.
What is Fear
All right,
Factor?
I'll say one more. There was a funny one. I don't remember, Ryan, what the concert was, but there's a huge concert, and when you host a big event like that, there's a lot of cleanup to do. I mean, there's trash, but one thing that there's a lot of cleanup of is all of the piss. People are getting drunk and they're filling up porta potties. So they used like 30,000 gallons of piss to irrigate a field, and then the following year, I mean, what was it? Hops or something?
Yeah, they grew the barley. With
the barley, yeah. And then
Are you talking about Bud Light?
No, there is a good joke in there. You do make a great joke about piss beer, but and then they resold the same beer made from the field that had been covered in the piss to the next when they had the concert again the following year.
So piss wasn't in the beer, but it was just
irrigated the beer.
Yeah, but you know how much cow manure is on your food you have now?
Listen,
come on.
Listen, it's just funny. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying I wanted to drink it. I just think it's great. And even on the bottle, there's like a picture of like drink, pee, make new beer, drink, pee, make new beer. I mean, it's the circle of beer.
Well, that's a really cool topic too, and one I have to do more research on. But it's the water consumption of the beer industry and how that's going to change given global water supply, increased demand for just clean drinking water as opposed to actual beer. So, actually, it's kind of cool that they took the piss from a festival and used it as part of the irrigation. That's water recycling for us,
Yeah. Well, there was some great ideas on some of those beers, like using, bread that wasn't going to get, leftover bread.
How much of that piss at that concert would not have passed a drug test?
Oh, that's a good point.
It must be one of those new marijuana bears.
Weed bears right here.
But I was just cracking up the whole time. I was actually watching that episode on my train ride to work, and I was just laughing.
Good stuff. Chad, you got anything? You're so quiet tonight.
No, I'm interested in the whole conversation. It's hard to I don't want to like interrupt and break in.
All right,
now's my chance.
Yeah, go.
Well, I was going to say let's take a quick break and see what everybody thinks of the beers they're drinking.
Oh, we're doing? Mine's almost gone. We're gonna have to break into a second one.
I think I need another beer.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking right now.
Ryan, how's that milkshake IPA treating you?
It's pretty good. Where I always kind of go wrong with these is I always think to my, I could usually come up with a logical reason why maybe not with those strange beers that I did, but I can usually come up with a logical reason why a style exists. Either somebody was trying to avoid a certain tax during a time period. Usually that happened a lot in the UK, over which is the reason a lot of English beer styles got invented in the first place. But I don't know what possessed somebody to think, what I want is a hoppy milkshake. I never got that one. Okay. But you know what? I could tell that this one is more IPA than milkshake. So, it's kind of treating me right in that way. Definitely get the big citra hops on the front, and the vanilla and the coconut kind of play a secondary role, and it's not like overly or cloyingly sweet either. So I enjoy the balance of this one for sure.
I've had some decent milkshake IPAs. There's two of them. There's a pineapple milkshake IPA and a mango milkshake IPA from Badger State Brewing up in Green Bay. They just, if it's done right, I think it's a delicious, refreshing style. And I've had a couple that are just, well, I can't say they're done wrong. They're probably done how the brewer wanted them to be done, but there's some pretty decent variants in that style.
What always confuses me too is milkshakes are great with like soft, squishy fruits, strawberry, banana, pineapple, and then you brewers are like, nah, I want to fill it with citra hops. I want to use like grapefruit, oranges, just things that just I don't know. I'm trying to figure it out. That's something I don't understand this style, and I just want to know more. Just drink more.
Now it did come to mind when you mentioned Europe. I think there was, we don't talk about it yet, but and the future video maybe is what's the impact of Brexit going to be on the European?
Yeah, that's a great one too. It's so tough because there essentially is no well-constructed plan for Brexit, which makes it a little frustrating to do a video. You know what I mean?
There's no plan. They don't know what's going on.
No, I have to deal with that at work. It makes it
last I saw they agreed to delay till June if the Europe accepts it.
Oh yeah, and only if whatever. I know it's a mess.
It was hard enough to do a video on aluminum tariffs when that was a thing 2 years ago.
Come on.
Is that when you did your Trump video where you're like, is Trump?
Yep. That one had the little bit of a clickbaity thumbnail. I'm not afraid to admit it.
Is Trump turning our frog gay?
Favorite clip, and I heard Trump, and I had to put it in there.
That's awesome.
What do you think of your burr?
Don't
give your full review.
It's good. It's good. I think it's probably priced a little high, but it's got some coffee.
Is the ABV lower this year?
12.2.
So no, it's not.
I think it's about the same.
They backed off. What the heck?
It's I thought it had more coffee this year than previous.
Yeah.
Right? Am I right?
Yeah. Especially as it warms. It's got a lot of coffee to it.
Yeah.
I would compared to previous years, I wouldn't mind a little more booziness. I like that. Mm-hmm. That boozy flavor. It's a little less of that this year, a little more coffee forward.
ABVs are coming. We talked about this with Grant Bawley from Three Sheeps. The ABVs on yearly releases are coming down.
We've heard it from several breweries and brew people that's the way of lower ABVs.
Right? Can you do a story where you petition for higher ABVs?
See, the problem is I'm a session guy. That's the issue.
I'll pay. I'm saying you don't have to.
I'll pay. Oh, okay.
Get out there.
Okay.
You don't have to be an honest journalist. They'll pay you. Come on.
I am very distraught by this recent trend. I wanted to go the other way. Oh, well, speaking of
other recent trends. Speaking of session beers, how about NA beer? That's making a big comeback in the local beer scene.
I haven't had a craft NA beer yet. I've not seen one.
I haven't either, but I'm not going to.
I'll definitely try it. But
yeah, I've seen a couple around here. And then what they do is they figure out how to. One brewery apparently, and this is what they tell me, and I'm not entirely sure of the science behind it yet, so take it with a grain of salt. But apparently they found a way to, brew an NA beer and then take a lot of the alcohol out or brew, and then put that kind of alcohol into a malt seltzer, something like that. So then they have a hard seltzer too. Yeah, so I'm not. I gotta talk to I need to interview them is what I need to do. But that's what the bartender told me. So I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah, I don't know if I take that for 100% truth.
I have trouble getting my head wrapped around this. Can somebody give me, even if it's not your perspective, what is the state of mind that I am going out there thinking I want NA beer?
Well, there are a lot of people who like the flavor of beer. They don't like the effects of beer or the alcohol. So
I gotta say, I have a couple of Muslim friends. So They want to, that attracts a totally new marketplace.
There's people that have bad reactions to alcohol. Alcohol doesn't, whatever affects their system.
But you're having like the most minimal tasting, or at least complexity of
Well,
beer.
who knows though? If maybe a craft one tastes
I mean,
better.
I guess their palates. Well, maybe.
Damn.
I don't know. I just feel like if I'm not enjoying all the benefits, I might as well just save myself.
I'm Jake. I'm right there with you, my friend.
I'm not trying to be a hater. I'm just it doesn't make sense in my brain. Like I never understood the whole Michelob Light, or the whole we're gonna go for a 5-mile run and then get together at this bar and drink Ultra.
Oh yeah, there's so much questionable industry. That's like tobacco company doing cancer research level is that Michelob Ultra stuff. This is totally a workout recovery drink. We promise.
Great analogy.
Exactly. So I don't know. I had a coworker who, for health reasons, just to be better in general,
started the second show in a row where a beer exploded on me.
Started the year off doing 60 days, January 1st. He had been a smoker. He did no smoking, no caffeine, and no alcohol for 60 days.
That was a sober
60.
So a whole bunch of people at work were doing it too. The sober or whatever, something January rhymed. Where you didn't drink all January. And I'm like, are you nuts? Do you know what job we have? You have to drink to survive.
He did it for 60 days.
It's insane.
Lost weight, felt better. But I will say, I went out to dinner with him on a couple work dinners. He was sucking down non-alcoholic beers, like six in 2 hours.
It's like every ounce of alcohol that you can.
I was like, dude, if you have 6 of them, does that still count as I don't know.
Triannuary, I think, is what you're talking
can
about.
You be addicted to non-alcoholic beer like an alcoholic? That's an interesting question.
Is there like a placebo effect happening? I don't know.
That could be. That'd be interesting too. I need to look up how they make non-alcoholic beers because I don't know what that process looks like.
Right. Have you done a show on the trending to lower ABV, more sessionable? Is there an episode out there, or have you thought about that angle?
I usually mention it kind of in passing. I don't think I've ever done a real deep dive on the topic, really look into which styles are coming into popularity. I tried to predict what was going to be the hit style of the summer. Was it last year or 2 years ago? I didn't do so well. I was looking for pineapple stuff, and it didn't quite make it there. But yeah, I mean, you especially seasonally, you're seeing just all your dark beers almost disappear completely, like June, July, August. Because I remember we tried to take a friend out who was up visiting us, hanging out in like August, and he's like, I like dark beer. I'm like, oh, okay, I know a great place. They had one half like amber ale porter on tap, and then everything else was pale ale, Kolsch, blondes, stuff like that.
Chad will drink a dark beer 90, 100 degrees outside.
Oh yeah, I'll drink anything anytime. I'll drink a Kolsch when it's -20. I'll drink a heavy stout when it's 90.
You've been to Central Waters Brewing?
Oh yeah,
love that place.
Amherst, Wisconsin. Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
One of my favorites.
That place has probably my favorite bar setup of any brewery.
Not that one.
Yeah. They have some of my favorite prices of any brewery I've ever been to.
It is inexpensive to drink there.
Like, what are we talking?
What's that?
What are we talking? Like $2 a beer? Like how?
Jake's gonna make you drive just because it's in
every pour is probably $3 to $5.
Yep.
He'll justify it to the wife, like, but it's so cheap.
And then you can buy
not going there.
We're losing money not going.
You can buy their 4-packs at the brewery cheaper than you can buy them in the store.
Sons of bitches.
Well, last summer I was up Traverse City, which is, I think does that count as the UP of Michigan? I don't know. I'm not quite a Michiganite, but I found a really small local fantastic brewery called Hop Lot, and they had a great sort of outdoor area. So sitting there with my family, and they're all drinking. There was like a strawberry ale and some other I forget now,
fruity,
but some other lighter sessionable beers. And I go in and I order the one that they sell only like 8 ounces. It's like a barrel aged stout, and I'm sitting out there, and we're sweating, and I'm just loving it. They're like, "What is wrong with you?" And I'm like, "I know this is not how I used to be, but it was so good." I was like, I can't not come here and not have their best.
I'm such a seasonal drinker. I went out to a bar the other night, and there was a Maibach on tap, and I just like gleefully gulped it down. I was so happy to see a springtime ale on tap.
It gives you hope.
Spring is here.
Yeah, there's still snow on the ground, but damn it, there's Maibach in the bar. So
that's an excellent style if it's done right. There are some really, really good ones. Capital City Brewing in Madison, they do a Maibach that's really good. Actually, their family of beers are really kind of based around the Bach style. They all have this kind of toasty flavor to them, and that their Maibach is excellent.
You know what I wanted to try? I forget the German word, but it's been going around kind of the beer section of Instagram lately. Is the hot iron poker in the Bach for about 2 seconds to give it some smokiness.
Oh yeah,
drink it. Yeah, I need to try that this summer or sometime, maybe winter, I guess.
Yeah, it's probably more of a. I mean, if you're talking about seasonal drinking, it's probably more of a late fall style.
I guess I gotta wait.
Let me understand. You take a hot iron poker, stick it in your beer. Yes, Jake, your beer, and then pull it out, and it's supposed to add smokiness to your beer?
Yeah, apparently people say it makes it smokier and gives it a much creamier texture. So, just stick your thing places, man. That's all I'm saying.
I applaud
stick your thing places and make it creamy.
Oh God. Maybe we should try that this summer. Put the poker in the fire and put it in the beers. Wow. I've never heard that one. That sounds interesting. Chad, you tried first.
What's that?
All right.
Oh, I'd try it first. You didn't tell us what you thought of your sketchbook.
I don't remember.
You're on to something else now.
Yeah, I already moved on to Boddington's.
What do you think of sketchbook?
It was good. I've had it before. It's not the haziest of the hazy. It's not juicy, as I would say. Not very fruity, as like a lot of the hazy New England IPAs are. A little bit more on the IPA bitter side, but it's a good one. I mean, sketchbook. I'm not sure if there's anything sketchbook I've had that I don't like yet so far. So they're good.
So, Ryan, we just had our Adam here, our captain here, just got back from a little trip to Texas. Can you give us any highlights of your more bad beer laws, Texas beer law episode?
Oh man,
that one was so long ago. Let's see, what were they trying to do? They were trying to limit. I don't even know if it ended up passing. They were trying to limit breweries to a certain size before an excise tax or something like that. But the gist of all that is that the one historical event you can trace pretty much all bad beer laws to is prohibition. Because after prohibition ended, the federal government basically said, all right, we're going to start collecting taxes on alcohol, but we're not going to tell you anything else about what you can make, what you can brew. Like we're not going to set any guidance there. So it was up to every local, county, city, HOA to decide, what kind of booze they were going to allow. And so you've got all these crazy like 3-tiered distribution models everywhere. You've got exceptions in one state that don't apply in another. It's really just a ginormous mess. And part of covering those bad beer laws back then was to just kind of demonstrate the hypocrisy. I think one of the big ones was when Guinness was trying to build their big facility in Maryland here, their kind of U.S. flagship hub. They were really looking for tax exemptions. And then, of course, the lawmakers set all these like ridiculous standards to get tax exceptions. So you got to have brew some number of thousands of barrels a year that only 2 breweries in the state would ever even touch. So it's like, oh, clearly we're just lobbying for one company here. So that's mostly what I was trying to point out back then. Have I really kept up on it? I guess not really. I've started to look.
I do recall I was down there at a brewery last summer, and I liked it, and I was really hoping to as I'm accustomed to in Illinois here, hey, what do you guys, or even when I've gone to Michigan, and I'm pretty sure Wisconsin, Chad, but you go to a brewery and it's like
Take a growler.
either a growler or sometimes they have cans or I mean, I go to Founders, they got bottles. What can I walk out of here
Can't
with?
do that in Texas.
And I asked them, I'm like, so, can they had a great beer that Dallas Dan showed us called Full Grown Man. I didn't really expect them to have that there. It was like their barrel aged special. I was like, what can we walk out with here? And they're like, can't walk out with anything. Well, why not? Well, here's this card, go vote support for us. Basically, we don't have a kitchen. So because we don't have a kitchen, you can't actually buy carry out beer here. You can only, buy beer out of the tap.
Yeah.
You'll have to go find us at a store to actually,
It has to be drank on premises.
Yeah. I'm like, what the hell does a kitchen have to do with whether or not I can carry out beer?
One of the weird ones I'm supporting here in Minnesota, we have a local brew distillery. So they have both a brewery and a still on site, and they make great
awesome.
booze. But
Love
they can't make any cocktails on site. They can't combine their beers with their cocktails at all, just based on Minnesota law. So even though they make everything in house, you can only buy the bottled booze to take home. They
So
can't serve you any of their booze.
Moscow
So
Mules.
what if they bottled their booze, gave it to the distributor, then bought it back?
Yeah, maybe. I
What
don't
if they
know.
drank their beer and then
Shut up. Piss
pissed
on
it into the
Yeah.
distiller? And then, when I saw that about the concert, all I could think of was the start of the movie Waterworld, which is really all I remember from that.
Oh goodness, that movie is terrible. Ugh.
All I remember. That and that it was awful.
It was awful. I remember I wish I could remember the name of the documentary, but I watched a documentary on small brewers trying to make it. Basically, it was on Amazon, and they one of the breweries they had was a small Texas brewery that was right on the border of Texas and I think it was Arizona, and they were having such a hard time getting going. And he said that he's made a comment that the laws in Texas are so backwards, my words, not his, that it would be better for him to go 10 miles down the road into Arizona and brew and sell it back into Texas. And he would make more money than brewing in Texas and sell it in Texas.
Mm.
So it's just, it's messed up. And you're right. It's prohibition laws. Just some of those prohibition laws in some states have just finally, because of the growth of craft brews and the associations are finally getting written out of the books, and new things are, states are finally catching on and to this business that's coming up they can make money off of. So.
Yeah. One of the cool things I learned in my upcoming video on the history of malt liquor is that in many jurisdictions, any beer over 5% ABV is considered a malt liquor legally. So, there's all these strange kind of leftover legal definitions too.
Say that again.
You're drinking malt liquor right now,
me
Jake.
again. You're saying anything over 5 ABV is considered malt liquor?
Yep, that's right. They consider it,
So
more
you're
than
malt liquor, except for the Miller Lite.
All right. Well, I will tell you guys, I don't remember the name. No, one was, I believe, Snake Venom. Ryan, you correct me if I'm wrong, but back to really I know it's the most recent one, but just a fantastic episode. There's a beer out there that's like 50 ABV.
Yeah, something crazy. Something that's probably not a beer.
You can't even drink the whole thing. You have to do it in shots. And I was like, fuck yeah, I want this. I got a problem.
What would make that a beer? Just the way they brewed it?
I guess they brewed it. I think what's happening with all these experimentation is, and a little bit in the video is what is a beer anymore?
Yeah, one of the again, I'm gonna preview this malt liquor video, but pre-prohibition, beer was really for kind of your upper middle class folks, even just an average lager, because everybody could transport liquor around. You could easily put a bottle of whiskey on a wagon train and have it last forever, or into a rail car. But then we've got beer. You got to be kind of local or nearby the brewery if you want it good. So a lot of the city socialites would be the ones consuming beer, and they'd break out a bottle of beer, at a party with some champagne or anything like that. So it's kind of strange to think about that way. That we're so used to like a Miller Lite being an everyman drink.
All the other beers that are for every man, Bush,
Right.
Keystone, and just all. But
PBR.
that's crazy.
Yeah.
Beer used to be a middle upper crust kind of beverage because you used to not be able to haul it around,
But don't you think some people see craft beers being that way?
Nowadays,
Beer, yes, but
Not beer as a whole.
not
I'm just saying.
beer.
Right, not beer.
I
No, like malt liquor was originally advertised to like 1950s suburbanites coming back from the war, buying new cars, new houses in the suburbs. Like
Not
that
anymore.
demographic was the target of malt liquor. It was they took that pre-prohibition attitude and just brought it back.
I believe is Mad Dog malt liquor. I used to drink Mad Dog quite a bit.
That's not malt liquor. Not at all.
I don't know what Mad Dog is. It was cheap.
I don't think anybody knows what Mad Dog is. It shouldn't be called liquor.
It gives you a terrible headache. I know that.
Yeah, probably destroys the inside your stomach too.
In my brain.
Yeah, that could explain a lot.
So, right? Do you have? I mean, it sounds like you support a lot of local beer, and when I hear that, I'm thinking small business. I mean, do you feel like you have a side on big beer and small beer?
I'm pretty split down the middle. So I recognize that, for me, I love my local brewery. I love what they bring to the table and the experimentation and things like that. But what I've kind of really recognized over the last year or so, I think, is that everybody's got a different value set, and it's not just for me to like project my values onto everybody else. I feel like a lot of people do that online today, especially here on YouTube, Reddit, Twitter. Everybody's trying to just make the case for their value set, which I get it. Like I said, we're feeling very divided right now. So, it's totally within reason to think that people would want to project that same thing with their beer choices. But I find myself being kind of like the Switzerland between that craft beer, big beer debate. I don't necessarily go out and buy a lot of Bud Light. Hardly ever drink it, maybe at a tailgate. But I spend all my dollars with craft, but I don't blame anybody who does go out and buy big beer. They've got a different value set than me. And don't get me wrong, I'm not afraid to criticize AB and Bev for their shady ass business practices. But at the same time, I'm not going to blame anybody for making a choice on what they want to drink.
But at what point does AB and Bev or one of these guys come to you and say, "Hey, you know a lot about beer. Why don't you come be a consultant?"
Fair enough. Yeah, I guess I'll have to figure out how to cross that bridge when I come to it.
Research out there.
That's a good point.
I'm just gonna be honest and say you put enough money in front of me. Okay.
All right, let's talk.
Hey, everybody's got their price, right?
Yeah, too right.
Mine is pretty cheap, to be honest with you. So.
What are if you can throw them out there, some of your favorite local breweries in your area? Oh no, did we lose them? Frozen?
That Minnesota internet.
Fuck.
Nope.
Oh,
I'm gonna have to have a conversation with my ISP, I guess.
Get those,
or maybe the Google Hangout saw my beer was empty and I got to open another one. So I have Night Rail Porter by Oso Brewing out of Plover, Wisconsin. Sorry, yeah,
I've had that.
I visited them over the summer for the first time, actually, when I was in the center part of Wisconsin checking out some lakes. So yeah,
I think Adam and I did we review this one in early in the podcast, or maybe I did a
familiar. You may have done a beer review.
I may have done a Friday morning beer review or something with this one.
That's a good one though. I've had that one. That is definitely a good one.
Yeah.
This actually came to me in a beer club. A work colleague got me as part of as a gift for helping them out on a big project. They got me a little beer subscription, and I was kind of surprised to see a brewery that I had been to because they said, oh, we get craft beers from all over the nation, and then the first box has a as a brewery I went to like 3 months prior, so it was kind of weird.
That was a good pour there. Good camera work.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I do my best. I do my best.
I think I'm gonna have to steal a beer from you. We got over there.
Yeah, whatever, dude.
Oh look,
There's some stuff that's out of bounds, and you know what those are. So
I got to look here.
ask for forgiveness, right?
not when they're right in front of me.
Yeah, I've checked that beer in twice. The Night Rain, I gave it. I had it as a sample at a brew fest. And brew fests are kind of hard to rate beers, but I had it at home and rated it a 4.25. So yeah, it was a good one.
Yeah, this, what I really am digging on here, first couple sips, is just, it's got that subtle malt smokiness that you're kind of looking for in kind of that old school English porter when they used to half burn the malt. So, yeah, it tastes good.
Crystal and Munich malts.
Reviewer. You sound like a beer reviewer right there. Come on now.
I don't know, man. I watch guys, sorry, I should plug other channels, but I watch guys like Darwin's Beer Reviews out of New York who just drinks New England IPAs all day. And it seems like he can tell you any ridiculous off flavor problem that might be present in a beer. And I'm just not at that level. I just can't do it.
Darwin is one of those who you watch, you could be drinking the exact same beer with him, and just go, what what are you talking about? Like he knows this stuff, and we've tried to get him on. Darwin, let's work this out, dude.
Let's do it. Do it, Darwin.
He's hard to nail down. He's got a busy schedule. So some of those, we just had David Nielsen on, who is Cicerone certified, and he does tasting classes mostly around Ohio. And some of these guys, it amazes me some of these guys that are so well trained at what they can pick out of these beers. Because I taste them and I'm just like, I taste beer. I don't know. I don't know what you're tasting. Maybe it comes from years of drinking a lot of beer. Chad.
Yeah, that's kind of when I was trying to decide what I wanted to do on YouTube. That was a big thing. Like, all right, whatever it is I'm gonna do it damn well. And I am not on those guys' level. I could already tell, and I'm just like,
but you found your niche, really. I mean, there's nobody else that I'm aware of on YouTube doing this, and with the amount of knowledge you provide, it's I love it. I love watching it. I love because you always learn something out of it, and so that's what makes it great. So you definitely found your niche on YouTube for sure.
Well, I mean, in your channel, I mean, your subscribers reflect, the fact that people enjoy watching you. I mean, what do you got? 3,100, 3,200 people?
Pretty well, yeah.
Subscribing to you?
Yeah. It's been, of course I'm a super big numbers guy. So, I'm always looking around at some of the other kind of educational content channels, video game content from my younger years, things like that.
Yeah.
So, it's weird to see how big different niches on YouTube are. Beer community is pretty small.
Yep.
Has a couple of bigger players, but other than that, mostly people just kind of expressing their passion, really, with other kind of like-minded folks. But then you get to some of the more corporate side, some of the video game side, where people are really just hawking product, most of the time, or that sort of thing. So yeah, it's been cool to see the growth. I definitely think people are responding to that kind of educational, knowledge gaining perspective if they're into beer, which I think is why I've seen kind of the numbers I've seen. Yeah, it's been very cool.
Jake just went through my fridge.
What'd you pick?
Well, I'm a big Revolution, Chicago brewery, and I've had a lot of their heroes. I guess called.
I thought for sure you'd had that one.
I don't think I've had the Northwest Hero, so I grabbed that. So I'm going to check and see if I've had that. And then I do like red ales. So I saw this Kane and Ebel by two brothers that you had a 6-pack of. So I felt better about just taking them. But
are you two-fisting?
No, I don't know. We'll see. Maybe. I was having too much fun down there. You know, you don't even.
I have way too many beers in that fridge.
You got
so-
a nice. I love that beer fridge.
Yeah, I got so many beers there.
I should have been sneaking over here while you were gone.
Yeah, you should have. The Two Brothers is good because it's one of those that has a distillery. Also, but they also not only a distillery, they also have a coffee bean roastery, as they want to call it. So they do coffee beans, beer, and distilling. So they're good too.
Well, what do you know? I've had it.
I knew you'd had
because
it.
I love Revolution. Damn it.
You know, picked it up. I was like, should we tell Jake? I was like, no, he's had that.
Yeah.
You guys see that Revolution is putting out like 20 ounce or 22 ounce bomber cans?
No.
God bless them.
Good.
I like
Yeah.
it.
You.
I like it.
Yeah.
Did you also see they cracked the top 50 breweries by Brewers
Yeah.
Association?
I saw that last one that you sent us. Yeah.
I think they're 45.
No, I want to say they're in their 30s.
Right in the 30s.
Ish. They were.
It's good for them.
Yeah, they were growing good.
And Three Flows is right behind them in 36, I think.
Yeah, I didn't see Founders on there. I think Bell's might have been on there.
Yingling's always on it.
Yeah, Yingling was on there.
How's Yingling always on?
Bell's is number 7.
I still can't get a Yingling in Illinois, but they're on.
Nope.
Who did they pay?
Revolution is. Oh, I just saw them. Where are they at?
Ryan, have you had any Revolution beers?
I can't say I have. No.
Chad, send him some beer.
Ryan, are
Hit
you
me,
on?
hit me up.
are
Hit me
you
up on Instagram. I'll send you something.
All right, let's do it.
Can we
38. 38.
Ryan, are you on Untapped?
You know what? I am. Let me remember what my username is. Might be an old one. I think it's Podgenic. Oh, it's so hard to spell. I really should just change it to my channel name, but
Who's got time?
somebody's probably stolen it already.
They'll sell it to you.
Yeah, that's right.
Speaking of, let me go see if I can get that. And I just made Beer Brother numbers.
And
on,
we
there
just
we go.
made a
Got
new
it. All right.
profile. I can't figure out how to search for new friends on.
Here, I'll send you the logo. You probably drink cooler beers than me anyway, so it's all good.
You don't know Jake very well.
Well, that's a Keystone.
That would be great. I don't think I've had a Keystone. How's that lawsuit going? Anybody know?
Oh, the Stone Keystone lawsuit.
Yeah.
That was a fun little Twitter spat. Mostly, I don't know how the lawsuit's doing. This Twitter's been fun.
Yeah, the Twitter is fun. I mean, what's his name from Stone?
Greg Koch?
I think it's Coke. I think it's right.
COCH or KOCH.
He's a great guy to watch on Twitter. He's a lot of fun. Yeah, that lawsuit will probably take years if it ever even goes to court. So
Yeah, I think I did a video way back in the day about the battle for various beer trademarks. How craft brewers had begun not only suing Big Beer but suing one another. It was kind of crazy. Actually, the reason that video came out is because there was a local brewery that right as soon as Dilly Dilly hit the airwaves, they made a Dilly Dilly Pilsner or whatever.
Yes, I heard
And
that.
the Bud Light crier showed up with a scroll
Oh, yes.
and just
I saw that video.
Bud Light paid an actor to come in and read them a cease and desist off a scroll.
I have.
I remember
and then
it.
they took the brewery. That was really great to see. That was really funny.
It's good to see when those big guys that normally don't have any sense of humor whatsoever finally get one.
But then I believe that happened in Minnesota, and that was the year the Super Bowl was there.
That's
Yeah.
where he's at.
Yep, that's right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Did they offer them tickets?
He's in Minnesota.
Oh yeah, that's right. They did offer them box seats or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I think they raffled them off, and
Yeah,
because
they
they
did,
only had
yeah.
2, and they didn't want us, so they raffled them off and gave the proceeds to charity. Or they did something good with it. But yeah,
Yeah, the whole thing was good because, like I said, I'm a little bit Switzerland when it comes to the big beer craft beer debate, and I thought the whole thing was just funny and everybody did the right thing. So
I don't think you're Switzerland.
no, you don't think so?
I think you're you didn't get in the fight, but you still have an opinion, because I tend to side with the craft beer, but I do have Miller Lite in my fridge. So do you have a big beer in your fridge?
Not right now. Actually, no, I don't. But you know, I show up to a tailgate. My buddy's got Coors Light laying around. I'll take a silver bullet or two. No problem.
Taking a bullet for the team.
You have no problem with rice syrup or corn syrup, do you? Yeah.
No, they all ferment out the same. Doesn't
Right,
fucking
they all
matter.
taste the same. Doesn't really matter at this point.
I didn't even bother to do a video on that. I didn't even want to like insert myself into that whole fiasco. That was crazy.
That was too much fun to watch. Really, it was just the way obviously it went down, and then I almost instantly grabbed my phone and went to Twitter to see what was going on beer Twitter after that commercial. And
You know, the weirdest part was the corn lobby coming
Yes.
up into
Yeah,
there.
that was
Like,
pretty
no,
cool.
there's nothing wrong with corn
That was
syrup.
fantastic.
and then you have all
All the farmers.
the farmers. I'm never
farmers.
drinking that again.
That was a miscalculation by somebody. Yeah. Well, we created a lot of attention. We just lost the whole Rust Belt.
right. There goes Iowa.
Yeah. Have you had it, Ryan? Have you ever had any? Have you ever ruffled anybody's feathers with any of your videos? Any blowback? Anybody that was upset and maybe expressed that to you?
You know, I made a great video because I was looking at my channel analytics because I'm a numbers nerd. I want to know everything about my audience that I can.
Did your KKK beer upset the KKK?
Yeah, I did mention that one time, but you know, I saw like the number 3 or 4 channel I was getting views from was from India, and I was like, what in the world is going on with the beer scene in India? And there's one kind of beer brand that is super on the rise with India's rising middle class, and it's called Beera 91. This particular brand I kind of presented as a craft brand, even though it was more of like a contract brew kind of operation.
Sure.
A lot of people didn't really enjoy that very much. Some folks were pretty critical as to like, hey man, this isn't true craft, whatever their definition of craft was. You know, even though,
Police came out.
Sam Adams got their start doing contract brews,
Mhm.
and they're one of the craft beer pioneers. So they were all Boston Lager was all contract for a long time. So regardless of whether or not you think they're craft today, they used to be. So I that one drew some criticism, and then there's just general YouTube trolling. I don't like your voice, man. Just whatever. Old quote, you got to be hated to be loved, that kind of thing. So I take it all with a grain of salt. I don't mind.
Thanks for stopping by, commenting, and giving me a view.
Mhm. That's right.
Now, do you homebrew at all?
I do some home brewing. Again, when I was looking for a niche, I saw there were a lot of great home brewers, but I lived in like a 1-bedroom apartment at the time. These guys had garages full of beer equipment that were bigger than my apartment. So I was like, oh, that's going to be another niche. That's going to be a struggle. I'll brew you a great extract kit beer. I'll nail that for you. I'll do a good job on that. I just recently, and I haven't actually reviewed it on my channel yet, which is kind of a shame, but my fiance and I brewed a beer I finally went out on a limb and started altering recipes. And we brewed a coffee cream ale that was inspired by the fancy Starbucks coffee cream ale cold foam cold brew thing, and it was like salted. So I added some salt and some flaked oats and some other stuff to the brew and tried to make it. It came out all right. I need to add a little lactose sugar next time, but I thought it was pretty good. Yeah.
Was this based on a recipe, or were you just experimenting?
I took a kit recipe, added some extra flaked oats for a little extra, little bit more texture, a little bit more body, and then added some salt, kind of like you would with a Goza or a Berliner. Well, no, Goza. Berliners don't do that, do they? I don't remember. Yeah, so added a little salt in there because that Starbucks drink has a little bit of sea salt on top to be fancy. Yeah, and kind of tried to recreate this Starbucks drink in a beer. It came out pretty good.
Yeah,
Awesome.
homebrew is fun.
It is fun.
It is fun. Good to experiment with. I I'm not super hardcore into it yet because I don't have a keg yet. But once I get that, I think it's pretty much game over from there.
Yeah, I don't have a kegerator yet. That's one thing I really need to get. So we end up bottling everything.
Yeah, we want to get a little like a mini barrel and do or some bourbon barrel chips or something and do
Yeah.
a little barrel aging experiment.
Yeah, bottling is a pain in the ass. By the way, if you're looking for something that's a little bit different from homebrew content, you should look up Australian and New Zealand distillers because it's not illegal there to do home distilling. So there's a lot of great stuff on that if you're interested in liquor.
I'm very interested in distilling.
Don't do it, Chad.
I really want to though.
You know, next to the boat, there's gonna be a big still pot in there.
Maybe a still pot on the boat.
The tub he's doing in his boat.
Stop yourself. We're gonna have a still pot on the boat. Oh boy.
Well, you remember when we went
Talk about
to
illegal.
I don't know if they're still open, but when maybe I shouldn't say the name, but we went to that
They're
distillery.
still open, but the owner died.
Yeah. We went to a small distillery a few years ago here in Lake Zurich, and we were talking.
You got
to
the
them.
really big.
Yes.
Okay.
We're not talking about that now. I got like a 64-ounce flask.
I got in so much trouble for it.
I'm trying to buy time. Anyways,
go on.
long story short, they told us that I don't remember how they were able to acquire it. It was a friend of a friend or something.
Well, yeah, the neighbor started doing it in their garage, right?
But yeah, they were illegally distilling in their garage with a 50-year-old or 30, a very old piece of machinery that they were able to get their hands on. Distillery. I don't remember the terminology for the apparatus.
Is that illegal in the U.S.? To home distill?
Is that a state law?
As far as I know, yes.
Because
Yeah.
I know there's a lot of home brew websites where you'd get home brew materials that you can buy a still. Just saying.
Well,
We can do it. I'm just saying.
so what is that? It's not illegal to sell. It's just illegal to
buy.
still.
You can have the still in your house. You just can't use it.
Like, use it as a planter.
That's where you gotta use it as a planter or something.
Yeah, I'll have to look that up. As far as I know, the onty thing that got legalized was home brewing by good old Jimmy Carter.
Jimmy
So if you need a
Carter,
favorite president, that's an okay one to pick. That's all I'm going to say.
I'm going to use that. Thank
Well,
you.
there's a lot of previous presidents that I would choose to love over what we currently have. But
Oh boy, here we go.
Oh,
and on that note, yeah, Ryan, we don't want to monopolize your evening here. So, is there? I mean, your channel is super successful. Your videos are great. Is there anything else you want to say or promote about your channel?
No, just head on over to Beer by the Numbers on YouTube. Grab if you're, beer science, beer history, anything like that. You just want to learn more about that beverage that you love. That's the place to find it. I'm a guy who just loves sitting around talking about beer. And that's what I love doing. So I get way too into it. So and I need more people to watch and more comments because my friends are tired of hearing about it. So I can't keep explaining the same things to them.
Well, you do a great job. I mean, your narration is great. You've got this kind of, it's like kind of easy listening voice. So your videos are easy to watch.
So that comment about your voice didn't come from Chad.
Gotcha.
It came from Chad, but not Chad.
I like your cadence. I like.
Yeah.
But you don't like his
pace.
voice.
Yeah, there's quite a few different people take inspiration from. Part of how I found my niche was just saying, all right, game theory does what applies weird science and history to video games. Maybe I can do the same thing to beer.
Mhm.
So that was one of my big inspirations too. So yeah, it's been a fun ride. Yeah, I love it. I love talking about beer all the time.
Well, you've got some new fans here, and we'll definitely spread the word.
And
Yeah, for sure.
Feel free to come back anytime and talk beer with us because we definitely like to talk about it too. So
Oh, I'd love to.
Yeah.
Cool.
Well, thanks for joining us tonight, Ryan. Fascinating conversation, and come back, like you said.
Beer by the Numbers on YouTube. Check it out.
Thanks, Ryan.
Thanks a lot, Ryan. Thanks for
All
joining.
right, thanks, Ryan.
Thank you. Cheers.
Cheers.
Skull.
All right, see you later. Yeah, skull.
I am Scandinavian.
I know you're scared.
Dicks.
No, we don't.